prophet observed the lands through the glassy surface of the orb, panning his gaze across the fertile, boggy landscapes and lush forests. There was something amiss, something drawn forth from the astral sea by currents he had set in motion. A miscalculation, he thought. By himself, of course. Zas could never make a miscalculation. It had to have been him, misinterpreting the signs. He did not know what he sought, and yet he felt it. A cold presence. Cold yet somehow hot. Abrasive. Dry and hostile. It was a distraction. His forces demanded his guidance as they moved towards the borders of Hirkonix's stolen domain, and yet he could not ignore it. It was there, crackling like a new fire in the underbrush, hungering to grow, hungering to consume. And then he spotted it. As he drew his gaze up to the jagged peaks southwest of Xuluzk, a pall of writhing dark smoke revealed itself. The prophet directed both of his eyes towards the aberration.
Flame crackling. Yes. An intruder. The source of the anomaly.
He drew his gaze closer, observing the landscape expand before him. Great pools of dark red blood bubbled across the landscape. Such, in and of itself, was cause for concern. The blood of an ancient being saturating the very lands. Such would hinder the progression of the megaliths, and yet perhaps this blood could be used. He was confident that the alchemy of Ukiyasha-iku might be able to channel this ancient substance into something that the Xazg could benefit from. At the very least, Ukiyasha-iku would be cautious in any tampering with this substance. But that was not what he was searching for. A distraction. That was merely an ancient emanation. What he sought was new, an arrival. And there he found it. Dozens of humanoids harvesting the ancient blood. Things moved among them, directing them with wordless projections of light. The prophet recognized what he saw, the beings that moved among the humans.
Ah, he rasped. The divergence point is clear. Xairiazg's lance. That weapon. It has drawn them forth.
The weapon. The dreaded lance. An ancient relic of the astral god known as the Ashen Visage. Already Xairiazg was being shadowed by one of the Ashen Visage's emissaries. Already those emissaries were spreading their influence. And now, called by the echoes of that ancient weapon, more emissaries were arriving. Emissaries and cultists. The prophet broke the vision away and signaled to Ezike Ekizi. The Sunderer chieftain approached, head bowed in reverence.
Yes, prophet. You require my assistance. Yes, Ezike Ekizi,
the prophet said.
We must divert attention from Hirkonix's borders. There is another matter to attend.
Ezike Ekizi's brow ridges lowered.
Another matter? More important than the war against Dragonkind?
There was no doubt in his voice. Ezike Ekizi was not questioning the prophet's words, he was merely asking for further clarification. But the prophet could not give him what he sought, for the prophet himself knew not the full answer yet.
Perhaps,
he said, cryptically,
more than the will of Zas now observe these lands from the astral sea. We must determine the course of causality and ensure that Zas's directive remains dominant. Come, there are interlopers to sever.
And here we are. With the enemy already encroaching on our borders, Hirkonix specifically, we need to be rather careful with what we do next. I think it is getting close to the time where we should be engaging against Hirkonix. He is, after all, the most immediate enemy and perhaps might become the most dangerous of the three Dragon Lords. If Draconic is successful in his endeavors, and manages to ascend to godhood, he will be a dragon god. In which case, no amount of mortal resistance against him is going to stop him. So I think it is in our best interest to prosecute this war sooner rather than later. We have armies in place. 4 of them, specifically. All of our heroes are ready to move. Now, the only thing I am concerned of is whether Avnazarax might move against us, should we move against Draconic. Now, there's no love lost between Avnazarax and Draconic, so perhaps not, and Avnazarax is prone to simply do what he does. He is much an embodiment of festering and stagnation, lurking in his swamp domain, feasting upon his subjects. I think he'll stay out of our way. That being said, Torbeld is not very distant from Draconic, and I think Torbeld will be all too eager to assist. So, we will begin making our push towards that, or at least to set up some sort of defensive measures along their borders. Perhaps an outpost? We shall see. For now, let us move the Frilled One, the Great Prophet, forward with Ukiasha Iku in reserve just behind him. Okay, hold on. This was actually perhaps not the best idea to move the Prophet ahead alone, but you know what? The Prophet is going to scout ahead. He sees no true threats up ahead. Now here, Izika Ikizi and Xairiazg are going to pincer down to the south. In the meantime, we need to have more troops available. Oh, and also, let's see here. We have our war shamans. So, yeah, it was mentioned by the glorious Arnik that the war shamans, the original retinue of Ukiasha Iku, are traveling with the Prophet. But perhaps I should move them. No, I think I'm going to leave them where they are. But they are still in the Prophet's army. These are the ones that originally fought alongside the Prophet, if I do recall so correctly. If the unit died, surely there would have been a few survivors that could have recovered after a time. Oh, hello. What are you doing here? I don't like that. We need troops here. We're recruiting a Plague Serpent, and I'm going to quickly bring up a defensive militia of spearmen, and we may as well get a constructive vendor. Alright. Now, let us, anything we want to do here? Drown in the mire? We could start to drown in the mire. No, there's no enemies to drown in the mire. We have floodplains on all of our cities. The only thing we could do is divine guidance, but none of our cities right now have stability. Ooh, that's not true. Zasara says has stability problems. So actually, I think I'm going to cast divine guidance on Zasara says. So we're going to drop this right here. So, Zasara says is now under a bit of divine guidance, which will assist us in the long run. Okay, Avnazarax is denouncing Hirani. That's good. That's creating a divide between Hirani, who, you know, her loyalty was a little bit suspect, and Torbeld is denouncing Nezukhadnevex, which is good. Now, quickly having a look, actually, at some diplomacy here with Draconic. So we have no cause for an unjust war. We could denounce them. It would cost us 200 mana to do so. I will do a denouncement directly. So, a denouncement is a verbal warning about a grievance that affects the targeted ruler and the relation with other AI rulers that you have both met. Draconic, the Binder, is falsely denouncing other rulers. Yes, we will point this out in preparation for what will be to come. We could declare a rivalry as well. How do we do that? Whoops, wrong button. Oh, we already have a declaration of rivalry, don't we? I think so. No, we can, but we don't have the money for it. Alright, that's what's required. Alright, let's end our turn. Now our forces will advance into the unclaimed lands. We will reclaim this watchtower quickly so that we can fully survey the territory around us. Right now, it doesn't look as though Hirconix's forces are present. We'll move the Prophet up, and as well as Ukiyasha Iku, who will eventually get that serpent in his army, but he's currently running away from that serpent. Desada says has produced a tavern. We can now continue production here. Question is, what do we want to produce here? A convent would give us more knowledge and mana. I believe that would be beneficial to us. It's going to take 8 turns, so that's a pretty sizable investment. In the meantime, since our financial situation is doing pretty well, I would like to recruit another warrior here. While our next troops, the Shield Maidens, are going to be moving south to try and reconvene with the main gathering point. We are unfortunately marching quite far from our territory, and we do not have an active teleportation network. So we're going to send our scouts up into the northern trackless seas in the hopes of finding some sort of resources, but I doubt it at this point. What have we here? Potential enemies. Unfortunately, I think we've discovered almost everything, so we need to go basically up directly north, up into these territories to see what there is to be found, and I will have that scout do that. Spells ready to launch. Nothing that we need right now, so we're going to end our turn yet again. Cadaver's Cavalcade. Your citizens in Irzasri host a celebration during which they placate the dead so their deceased loved ones may rest peacefully. The Magister explains,
To keep the dead from rising and wreaking havoc, our citizens share stories and happiness during festivities around the city's crypt. That way, the deceased know we're doing fine without them, and they can continue their journey without needing to come back and haunt us. Your blessing would hallow this celebration, O Prophet. Would you share a few words for our brethren?
I believe there's a festival similar to this in Japan, right? So, something kind of like this, same idea. It's tied in with Japanese Buddhism, which unfortunately I'm not very familiar with, but seems like this may be inspired by that. Not that there aren't plenty of, festivals associated with the dead throughout human history and throughout different human cultures. Just that one came to mind first. Anyways, your sacrifice allowed my empire to prosper. Enjoy your rest. I think that's going to be a good one. Or while you rest, others will wake in your stead. Ooh, that's also cool. 1 free population. Just instantly, this seems to be the best option. So that's basically 5 turns-ish of Imperium growth. This might actually be better, but I'm going to go with that, because we can spend that Imperium very easily, 144 to instantly finish a 6-turn thing. So getting more Imperium is better. And this Imperium is actually going to allow us to start to get some things here. So let's have a quick look what we might want here. We have Justified Wars, gain plus 20 grievances against players with an opposing alignment. Alright. Unfortunately, Hirconix is not of the opposing alignment. Hirconix is apparently good. Hirconix is very good at deceiving others into thinking that he's good. So that's not going to work there. Okay. Focus studies. Research post grant plus 5 mana. Conduits grant... research post grant plus 5 knowledge. Conduits grant plus 5 mana. This would be for 300 Imperium. That would be a good advancement. Spells can now be cast on the first turn of combat. Would also be quite nice. We've got nothing there that we need. Is there anything further down here? Grant plus 1 siege slot? Potentially. Cities can now build teleporter province improvements. We absolutely want this. That is incredibly good. And we are indeed going to get focused studies as well. So, now our mana situation is going to be even more stable, and we're going to be able to start building teleporters in various locations. So we're going to want to look around and see where we can put a teleporter. I think I want to put it there, where we have this forester. So I'm going to immediately deploy that as the next thing we construct. How much is that going to cost? 120? Throw it down. Alright. So, we need the teleportation network online. Zasada says can annex yet another settlement. Fantastic. As much as I would... as much as I would like this, in the sense that I wasn't going to take this. But in all likelihood, I think I'm going to take this, because... And there is this iron deposit, which would grant us quite a bit of Ooh, but if we do this, that's gold, mana, and production in this mine here. Or we take the conduit, the Astral Dew, grant 20 mana. I think we're better off with extra research, because we're getting enough mana right now. So, Astral Dew has been acquired. We have, like, a whole lot of mana. To the point that we can't do any more of that. We should probably get more racial transformations or unit enchantments. So, the Shield Maiden is going to advance. The Sneck here is actually going to move into his army. Then we're going to pull up this way, move around, and we are basically just going to camp out right here for the moment. You're going to hold there. I'm going to move this army down here. We do not have justification yet, unfortunately, so we're going to have to figure out a way to get justification. It's just that they keep prowling our borders, which I'm, a little bit concerned about. Yeah, there's this army here that's watching us right now. Xiaraisk is undefended, but it's about to be a bit more defended, so I'm a little less concerned. Yeah, let's end our turn. I should also, while we're waiting for the turn to end, instead of me skipping through it this time, I will quickly bring forth, check out my Galactic Civilizations Let's Play that I just started. If you're interested in this style of game, Galactic Civilizations 4 Supernova is basically in early access, and I received a free copy from the developer, Stardock Entertainment, which is pretty awesome. So I started up a series in that, creating my own faction. Only the main playable faction. So I didn't create a bunch of factions, because I think the other factions they have are just fine for what I'm going for. But basically I created a faction centered around a ruling caste of radioactive slug priests, led by a radioactive slug pope that has aspirations of godhood and seeks to conquer the galaxy to fuel his aspirations for godhood. It's pretty cool. And, of course, expect some lore. It's not quite as lore-heavy as this one, but, there's a fun intro to the campaign to give a little bit of context. All right, so, moving here, we have a storehouse constructed at Xuluzk. I think I now want to construct a granary so that we can expand this population. This is going to take 2 turns to expand here. We're just going to leave that to expand. We have declined a trade proposal. Wait, what? Propose alliance. Oh, no. Okay. I didn't even see this. Accept. Let's negotiate it. Can't do it anymore now, apparently. Okay. Hold on. We need to get this set up again. I didn't see it. I thought it would pop up. They asked for the following in return. God damn it. Alright, that would have been really good. Maybe there's some treaties that we can do, like a share vision. They would ask for 214 gold. They are more powerful than me, so it does make sense. We'll wait and see if they offer another one. Unfortunately, it seems like their messengers were intercepted along the way. I can only assume, given the routes they must have taken, that they would have been intercepted by Jadar Shadal thralls from Stelgardus. So all the more reason why we need to act against Draconics here. So we're going to move our Shield Maidens up, and right now everyone is just hanging out here. So we're going to camp, basically. 4 armies. Ready to advance. Perhaps we move a little closer to their border. I mean, they'll see what's happening. One way or another, so there's no sense in hiding what our intentions are. And our scouts are going to continue exploring the 7 seas. I think it's just 1 sea. That's fine. And this one can go directly up into this unknown territory. There's a watchtower here that we should absolutely claim. But first, there is a cartographer here that might provide us with some useful map insights. We have another Plague Serpent here. I'm going to leave the Plague Serpent to defend the city. This is, after all, Ukiyasha Iku's city, so it would make sense that there are serpents here that would defend the city against other intrusions. We have 1 turn left on this vendor. Unfortunately, I do not have any gold right now, so we are going to floodplains. Tier 4 terraforming. Okay, I should not be clicking that. I keep seeing that up there thinking it's a notification. That is actually the floodplains, the Bring the Floodplains city transformation spell at work. So, let's see here. We have our troops ready in, as Asadar says, we have a little teeny garrison. It's actually, with the tier 2 unit, a Fury. I think I'm gonna get the Furies to move down, but I may wait, because it may just be faster to wait until teleporters are constructed here in Sulusk. Because if we can get a teleporter here, although that's going to take at least 2 province expansions, because none of these provinces I want to switch out. We need a farm early on. We'll need that. That's going to be the next one I take, I think. And then all of these ones absolutely need to remain as they are. Right. Well, Xiaraizk has produced its vendor. So we need to ready the next construction. Unfortunately, we are a little bit bottlenecked when it comes to gold. So I will construct a market there, because gold seems to be our main limitation. We can now no longer construct anything else. We have a new empire development skill available. What is it? Up here, huh? Ingredient experimentation. Your throne city gains plus 15 knowledge for each magic material your empire has access to. That would be a lot of knowledge. And then rite of conjuration. Immediately conjure a defended magic material near each city in your empire. Oh, wow. That's really good. That's really good, because that's just, like, permanent resources to gain. Alright, our scouts here are going to reveal this Father Oak. Okay, we could have just, like, walked up there and found that, so that was pretty terrible cartography. But it's fine. Okay. Troops remain here. Camp for now. We are just going to hold ground and wait until we have some sort of justification to engage in a war against Hirconix. Yeah, right now we would have an unjust war. They have moderate grievances against us, where we only have minor grievances against them. We need to be able to declare a rivalry. Their grievances. Arakzosk-Ira, the Frilled One, is plotting to take over all the free cities. This is fabricated, obviously, because there are no free cities. I think what we can do is spend gold to basically create a propaganda campaign. Not so much a propaganda campaign, but rather an information campaign to send out to other factions, so that they'll realize that, hey, wait, there's no free city, so what Hirconix here is claiming as his justification is absolute lies. Hirconix is a deceiver. That is certain. Perhaps we can fabricate further grievances by constructing a farm right here under this scouting force. This is our claimed land. They're standing here. Now they're trespassing. Perhaps this will work to our benefit, perhaps not. We shall see. In either case, we have to be wily against this deceiver. Can't trust him. So, let us construct a research post here. Excellent. And I believe we should have a city that can perform some sort of construction. Then again, perhaps not. Looks like everything is under construction as planned. Alright, our troops will continue their relocation as necessary. Our scouts here are going to grab this watchtower, which is going to reveal the surrounding areas, although ultimately nothing that we can exploit. And our scouts here in the ocean. Oh god, that's a lot of cephalopods. That's a lot of cephalopods and wyverns. This is hostile territory. The north is a big no-go. What the hell is this? Oh no. Agents of the Ashen God. We need to be very cautious. Another ruler was denounced. Many rulers are currently being denounced. I was insulted by Hirconix. Fantastic. That is going to create more grievances. Excellent. War justification balance is only at -7 now. Good. New empire development skill available. What now? Technically, we could do all-seeing. We don't need to do that, though, because that only affects free cities, which there are no free cities now. We will eventually get free cities because we are going to end up liberating a lot of cities as soon as we deal with Draconics. We will not be raising settlements like we did in our previous campaign. That's not our style. Agents of the Ashen God as well. This is unfortunate. We need to pull back from the border. We're going to send not Tsiaraisk. Tsiaraisk cannot be trusted. Ukiasha Iku will remain to keep an eye on Tsiaraisk, whereas the Prophet and Izika Ikizi will deal with these agents of the Ashen God. They cannot be allowed to move about our lands with impunity. They're dangerous. Their faith is dangerous. Their god has unknown but undoubtedly nefarious intentions. Very well. We don't need to worry about any of that. We're going to end turn and see what happens. We have completed the rites of salvation. This will allow us to heal target friendly unit of all of its injuries and dispel all ailments upon that unit, as well as grant them further resistances against additional ailments. This will be very instrumental in battle, and now we need to figure out what we're going to do next. Faithful Whispers, we don't need at the moment. Whereas Consecrated Domain, target friendly city, friendly units in the domain gain +2 resistance and +20 morale at the start of the battle. We could also recruit River Trolls. They fit with our swamp theme, but they're not exactly friends of ours. They are antagonists to us in the swamp, so for now that will not be the case. None of these appeal to me so much, so I'm actually going to shuffle the research here and we're going to see what we get. We're absolutely not recruiting Watchers. They are associated with another god of the Astral Sea that we do not wish to have any sort of interaction with. We could scry enemies. All enemies in target army provide you with vision for 15 turns. That's what we're going to get. That is how the Prophet is going to keep an eye on potential hostiles. So, our troops are going to move up to confront the followers of the Ashen God. For now, the Shield Maidens here are going to keep an eye, and they're going to assist in the battle when the time comes. Now, our troops here, or our scouts I should say, are going to investigate the territories. More followers of the Ashen God prowling around. This is interesting. All of a sudden, they're just everywhere. This is very concerning. The Ashen God must be making some sort of push into reality. Okay, expansive reach. Cities may expand to provinces located +2 provinces further from the center. We absolutely want that. It's going to be incredibly useful for us. So, as for these two, they're going to keep an eye on the enemy borders. And we're going to prowl around the north here. Oh my god. This northern coast is incredibly dangerous. What on earth is that? Our scouts have detected something that cannot be explained. They're going to give it a wide berth, even going so far as to sail around these Pirate Cove waters. And they're just going to ignore whatever that was, because that defies causality. That should not be. You have treated your citizens in Irzas well. Now a sculptor approaches you, bowing reverently.
Greetings, Prophet Arixos Ira, the Frilled One. The populace of Irzas has hired me, humble sculptor in the likenesses of kings and Godir, to immortalize your image in marble and flow rock. Though materials are tough materials to work with, but I would use nothing less for a prophet of your stature. Please, if you would be so kind as to strike a pose.
The citizens offer to sculpt a statue in your likeness. Which pose best captures your quality? Benevolent gesture. Helping hand reaching out. Yes. Fantastic. More troops ready. We have our teleporter now under construction, so we need to get a new teleporter under construction. Preferably in Toulouse, because that is the closest city to enemy territory. We need to be able to quickly reinforce this whenever possible. However, again, none of these locations are good to build a teleporter, so what we're going to do instead is attract immediate population, and we are going to build a forester right here, and immediately follow this up by constructing a teleporter in that province. So, we'll see. That's going to take a couple of turns to complete, but ultimately, it will be for our great benefit, as we'll be able to instantaneously move troops through there. We don't need to worry about teleporters in our other cities just yet. Our domain is being invaded. Yes, indeed. Good. Tier 2 units, Tier 1 units. We have mostly Tier 1 units. We need more troops to help fend them off, preferably troops of higher capabilities. We will construct another Plague Serpent. This is the Serpent City, after all. And here we will construct a mint, because, once again, it is gold that is our main problem. And then we will excise them from our lands. This should also be giving us minor justification. Soon enough, we will have full justification, but right now we can ignore that. We don't need to immediately start this war, because we need to deal with the servants of the Ashen Visage, an enigmatic god of unknown intent, but whose designs for causality do not intersect, or sorry, they do intersect with the causality that Zas envisions for the world. We will need to cleanse our territory of these strange entities. More concerningly, these entities, some of them, one in particular, has been seen drifting around Xairiask on multiple occasions. The evidence towards her being under the influence of a foreign god mounts. We'll need to be very careful with her. Warriors advance. We'll have our war shamans move in tow. It is important that those war shamans remain alive. They've been with us for a very long time, and it would be a major shame if they were to die at any point. Wild Witches. Okay, so they have the ability to cast Blight Rains. There is when a defending unit dies, all adjacent hostile units suffer 15 spirit damage and have a 90% chance of becoming condemned, thanks to this area. Great! That is going to be problematic for us. So we need to be able to kill the enemy from afar, is what that means. We'll move up Vampire Spiders here, and our Archers into position right here. So, thus far, I don't think we're going to be able to make any direct attacks. I definitely want to be able to move some of our forces in flanking. We have our other War Shamans right here. And, of course, the Prophet can make an immediate advancement all the way up to the front lines, where he could already drop a magic missile on this enemy unit. It's not going to do much damage, but, you know, it's going to do something. Whoops, wrong button. So, we'll begin with a preliminary bombardment, whereas everyone else here is going to take a defensive position, and we'll see what the enemy does. They're quick, unfortunately, and these Lightbringers are capable of enthralling our units. But right now, they are being used in a more offensive manner. Wow, they're already here. Concerning. The range on these enemies is much. These angelic features, don't let them deceive you. There's nothing angelic about the Ashen Visage. Lightning Evocation. You could strike multiple enemy units with Lightning Evocation from here. But, before we do that, I think it would be best if we were to inflict rot upon these enemies right here. So, now they are all poisoned and decaying. This is good for us. We need to be able to kill ones before they get close to us. So as much damage as we can do from range, the best. So we're going to also use the Wild Witches to do a Blight Rain right here, which is going to further sunder their defenses, which is then going to allow our Astrologers to... Actually, I'm going to have the Astrologers do a Prediction Fortune right here on Ezika Ikizi instead of participating in the attack, because Ezika Ikizi can now launch an attack of his own to deal quite a bit of damage. You can almost kill that unit. So perhaps it's not in our best interest to do that right now. However, we are definitely going to be dropping a Strengthened right here, and our Chaplains have potential things they can do as well. So first things first, a Mending Touch on our Spiders. We can't reach them, unfortunately, so we're going to have to do a Healing Prayer on our Spiders. We want to keep them alive. And we have War Shamans right here that I could advance. Though advancing with this would mean they're advancing exposed. We'll see. We'll see what we do there. Well, we have our Furies. Our Furies can nearly kill this unit. Or we can deal quite a lot of damage to that unit. I want one of these units to die. We could... No, we cannot. Okay, we can do that with the Shamans. Okay, so Ezekiel Ikizi is going to... doing the job with the shamans first. Okay, so they're going to be able to get that much damage in. Then I think our Furies here can finish that unit off. Not quite, so it is going to have to be Ezekiel Ikizi. Alright, because we have to do this. We have to take this unit out before they get into close combat. So, good. They're gone. They're not because they're steadfast. Of course they are, because everything has steadfast. Right, well, we'll inflict as much casualty as we can onto units with multiple models, so that way we can, hopefully, at least slow them down. So, in order to block off enemy advance, we're going to have our warriors here advance here, deliver some damage right there. We have spiders that can move in on a flank to further damage that unit there. I think that's a good call. And Ezekiel Ikizi can shoot again, apparently. Okay. We can do even more damage. Why don't you pick off some of them? I don't know if that's going to kill a full model, but, you know, it was worth a try. Now, as for what's happening here, Prophet can do Lightning Evocation, which will kill one of those enemy units. Is that actually going to kill it, or is it just going to... let's give it a try. It does, actually. Alright. So that one does not have Steadfast. Unfortunately, that dealt damage to those spiders. Unfortunate. Our warriors here are going to have to intercept and guard for the Prophet. I don't know if I should have moved them that far, but it's too late now. It was not too late now, but it is definitely too late now. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Hold on. Who are we missing still? Our Shield Maiden. Where's our Shield Maiden? Oh, hello. I totally did not see you. Okay. They're late to the battle. They're arriving from a slightly different location from our main army, so it makes sense that they would only show up now. Okay, their troops are rallying. What are their flyers attempting to do here? They're attempting to move from the looks of it. So it's triggering two... Yeah, interesting. They're pulling away. What is going on here? Rallying and strengthening. Okay. Good. Conversion was resisted. Fantastic. They were weakened, but that's fine. They're not meant as a melee unit. Okay, so these guys just waltzed right past my troops without triggering a opportunity attack, so that's a little concerning. Thus far, we're doing pretty good. But let's not get too confident. Overconfident, I should say. We want to advance, to be certain. So I can move my archers right up to here, which will allow them to put shots in there or here. Let's actually put some shots in here. Kill some of this unit off. Great damage. Excellent damage. And do we have anyone that needs healing at the moment? Actually not. Let's, I mean, spiders, yes, but we can't reach them with our heals. So, that's unfortunately not going to work. We could do an invigoration somewhere, but you know what? Let's actually do that. Let's move all of these up, and I'm going to drop an invigoration right here. You know, it's just a big buff for everyone. So, then we can move in our warriors. But I don't know if that's quite wise. We could drop our wild witches to right there. Perhaps they can deal some damage. Good. That unit is dead. Never mind. It is not dead. I hate Steadfast. I wish it just didn't say that it would kill them. And would give a different symbol. That way, you know, it wouldn't bait me and then switch me, and then I would feel very sad afterwards. I know that's a me problem. Let's see here. We could do a salvation on our spiders here, just to ensure that they aren't going to die as they engage these enemy units right there. So, perfect. All is in working order there. We have more spiders to advance, but we can also advance with these warriors, which we will. They will turn this way and form a defensive bulwark, whereas these spiders will remain in reserve. Ezekiel Ikizi. So he can do more damage over there. But I think I'd rather have him actually shoot at that unit. That did almost nothing. But they are bogged down at the very least. And here, our warriors should be able to kill, in quotes, them. But they're, of course, going to get back up because... Steadfast! Oh man, I hate it. And... yeah, unfortunately, all we can do is go around, so that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to launch a magic attack right there, which is going to deal a little bit of damage. As for the Shield Maidens, they're going to advance here, turn that way, go into defensive stance. What do we have left? The Astrologers. The Astrologers could participate in some of this onslaught. Who could we potentially damage? We could further damage them just to make sure they're at 1 health, so then they'll basically die. Or they'll just die because these ones do not have steadfast. Alright, good stuff. Take defensive stance, indeed. So, it seems like we're going to be able to do this without suffering any casualties. Hopefully. Good. They're dead. This just leaves the pigeon cavalry. Although, it seems like one of them died of old age. Which is fantastic. Alright. Engaging here. I'd rather engage with the shield maidens, to be fair. We can go in and deliver a stun. 43%. Nice. It was a success. This is going to allow the Prophet to withdraw. The Prophet can then deliver a powerful magic missile, but first we can, of course, engage with our warriors. Gets a teeny tiny bit of damage in. It's really nothing. Or the Prophet can do magic bolts, which is actually going to deal even more damage. Now, we have our war shamans that can participate in ganging up on this poor bird. But, you know, it had it coming. And Ezekiel Akizi, of course, will advance just as soon as he can. We have a lot of troops that need to clear the way first. Our astrologers can participate. A little bit of extra damage. All of this is just extra damage, which is all good. Oh, he can already shoot. Great, do it. Triple shot. It's got long range. I want him to get even more range as soon as he can. And our war shamans will strike the supposed killing blow, though it's clearly not dead. Although it looks dead. Enter defensive mode. What's it gonna do? I think it's just gonna die because of the poison. Yep. Okay, so the condemnation did a bit of damage to us, but other than that, successful onslaught. We didn't really take too much damage. Some of our spiders here were injured, but they'll recover just fine. In fact, what I'm going to do with Ezekiel Akizi's army, I'm going to send this spider to go and rest and recuperate in Xuluzk, and Ezekiel Akizi will merge up with the Shield Maidens. Though, perhaps that would be better served in the Prophet's army as his personal guard. But then again, his personal guard aren't going to be able to keep up with him because he's riding on a unicorn. Alright, so we're going to move away from that thing and ignore it. Meanwhile, our scouts here are going to bypass this hostile territory, although that is increasingly difficult because this is a massive hostile zone. And that looks like it's going to be it. Rulers being denounced. Good. Good, good, good. Chaos between our enemies. Draconic the Binder and Nezuhadnevex are also denouncing each other. That is fantastic. Seems like the dragons are not reading what is happening very well and seeing a uprising blooming in their midst. That is good for us. Now, let's end our turn. It is an unfortunate thing that sometimes our scouts who rove out beyond the borders of our territories meet with insurmountable odds that they cannot overcome. He will be remembered. He served us very well. But alas, sometimes our scouts don't make it. They were attempting to make contact with Hirhani, of course, but was not able to reach there due to the hostile territory in between. Now, Scry Enemy has been completed, which means we can now unlock a new tome that can assist us. We do not want the Tome of Summoning. Nor do we need the Tome of Teleportation, nor these ones, because they don't make any sense for us. Terramancy, perhaps, but perhaps not. The Tome of Cycles. This would make a certain degree of sense. Druids of the Cycle. Cycle of Life and Death. These would be envoys, not of Zas, but of the world itself. These are material entities. They have little connection to the Astral Sea, aside from how the Astral Sea connects to the living. They're not associated with any of the astral gods, and yet they could be very beneficial to us. Also, here, Diffuse Health would be an excellent way to even the odds in an uphill battle. This is great potential. Tome of Vigor also has great potential, but we do not use as many beasts. We certainly don't want the Tome of the Dragons. However, the Tome of the Shell may be of interest to us. This would allow us to adopt aspects of the turtle denizens of the sea, which, you know, are, of course, very, very distant relatives, being reptiles themselves. Tome of Subjugation doesn't make any sense for us, nor do these. Or these. No, I think it's going to be Tome of the Cycles, which will begin our research here. This is adjacent to the will of Zas, but it absolutely does not intersect with the will of Zas in any way. In fact, the cycle is part of the current of causality. And of course, within the current of causality, severance is a thing that happens to all things in the end. For now, we're going to lock diffuse health for later, and we are going to research projectiles of decay, which is already completed, so we will immediately start diffuse health. What does parting gifts do? Until the end of battle, whenever a friendly unit dies, all other friendly units within 2 hexes heal plus 12 temporary hit points. No, I'd rather have this. We're going to take diffuse health, and what I'm going to do right now is already immediately put out projectiles of decay, because that is going to assist our warriors in battles to come, which is going to be very handy. Now, Usurped can annex another province. Fantastic. There are many provinces to annex. Here, I don't want to move down to take this, because this is going to belong to Zasada says eventually, so we're going to progress this way. We have a farm right here that I could take, and I think that's probably going to be our best bet, although here we have an oyster reef, which is going to give us money, so I'm actually going to take this oyster reef at the moment. Get extra wealth. Spiders are going to return to Xuluzk, as mentioned, and the rest of our forces are going to march south towards Draconic's territory. They are slightly damaged, but the damage is pretty negligible. I'm confident they'll be just fine. Now, our scouts are going to continue their exploration here and are unfortunately finding a coastline filled with savage monsters and dragon spawn. None of which is good for us. So, your domain is still being invaded. Draconic the Binder was found trespassing in your domain. Indeed, it would seem as though our little scheme to ensure that the rest of the world sees us as justified when we assail Herconix, because, again, Herconix is deceiving the rest of the world into thinking that he is a benevolent ruler, which is not the case. We are now completely justified in invading him. However, I will wait until we have all of our forces ready that need to be ready. 6 more turns until the teleporter is up and running. In the meantime, in order to defend this territory, we're going to need forces present in Xuluzk. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to end our turn. So with Zasada says under no immediate threat, with the borders down here functionally covered, and once we have a garrison there, the borders in that direction will be covered as well. This border covered by mountains, and no one has landed here, and if they do, we can intercept them with forces from Irzasri. I'm moving the garrison of Zasada says to Irzasri, where once Irzasri has a teleportation system, we can then move them to assist in Xuluzk if need be. Now, what can we do here? Zasada says has produced its convent, which means it can produce another structure. We will construct another mint. Gold is our main bottleneck. We need to solve this problem as soon as possible. Our spiders can move about, and the rest of our forces are beginning to amass where they need to go. As for our scouts here, perhaps we should make landfall, but perhaps we can also continue sailing down the coast. Alright, well, it looks like we accidentally made landfall. So, that's that. Projectiles of Decay is ready. This is going to provide all of our troops our ranged and magic attacks an additional +2 blight damage, and has a 90% chance of inflicting decaying, a damage over time effect that prevents enemies from healing. That is going to be incredibly crucial to us. We will be able to do plenty of healing ourselves, and we will prevent the enemy from doing so. Causality itself will ensure that our plans come to fruition, and that the plans of the enemies of causality stagnate, wither, and die. Glory be. Is there anything else we need to do here? There is not. So, we will proceed. Well. Is it time? Is it time to invade? Now, of course, the question remains, are we able to properly contest them? I think we are. We have 5 troops here. We can take out this army with these 5 troops. They do have slightly better quality troops than we do. But I'm confident that the Plague Serpents will be able to do well. So we need to be able to move quickly against them. So I'm going to rapidly move some troops to the border where they can take out that enemy force as quick as needs be. Oh. Shrine of the War God. Grants War God's aggression to every unit produced in this city. This unit's melee and physical range attacks deal +2 physical damage. That sounds amazing. Let's construct a Shrine of the War God. Zas is not generally considered to be a war god, but Zas has many aspects. You know, Zas is a serpent. Now, as a serpent, he is both a symbol of the cyclical nature of causality and the universe, but this cyclical nature, of course, involves life and death, and, well, war is one of the many vectors of death across the realm. Some might consider that Zas is a war god, but rather we will be building a shrine to the fanged serpent aspect of Zas within our city, which our troops can pray to gain additional benefits as they are being trained. Now, here, Zasara says can expand further as well, which would be good. So, taking this mine here I think would be quite beneficial. This is a quarry. Well, this quarry would allow us to make further constructions. This mine would allow us to get more gold. Well, Zasara says is expanding into quite a large city. We do eventually want to take this Altar of the Ancients, so, man, as much as there are all of these amazing territories around here, I kind of want to take the Altar of the Ancients sooner rather than later, but we're about to go to war, so I'm not going to be able to take that, because my armies, I'm not going to be able to spare any of my armies just yet. So I tell you what, we're going to take the gold mine here, just to make sure that we have enough gold to sustain our troops in battle. We're going to move our reinforcements up to the capital, and we're going to send our scouts inland, see what they find. Oh, hello. This is where you are. Wow. We've found, Iref, the Soothsayer. Her territory is up here in the north, in the northern bogs. Intriguing. Arixosk Ira. This is Ezike Ikizi, I should say, the Hunter Chieftain. He will move into position, ready to invade enemy territory along with the Prophet, of course. Ukiasha Iku will perhaps be leading this attack. A measured approach, cautious approach into Manafont. But we're not going to do this just yet. We're going to wait one more turn. We have troops still producing here. We're going to immediately train a group of chaplains so that in case the city is attacked, the city will be able to heal its own troops, which will be quite beneficial to us. They're going to remain there. And spells that are ready to launch. For now, let's ready a scry enemy, just in case we can find an enemy army. That way we can keep an eye on what they're doing. Right now we can't see any enemy armies. Their capital city of Pendant is down to the south. We will make ready to do our invasion very soon. As for this, what can we do here? We could already start producing some troops, but I think what I want to do is actually wait a little, so that the shrine will be completed, and then all of the troops we produce from there will gain the benefits of the shrine. And we have completed Diffuse Health, to allow us to convert the life force of an enemy into those of our allies. We could do Cycle of the Seasons. Is cast on a friendly city, all battles that take place in the city's domain gain Cycle of the Seasons, granting a different effect each battle turn in the following order. During winter, all enemies sustain 5 frost damage. During spring, all friendly units become 1 strengthened. During summer, all friendly units heal 5 temporary hit points. And during autumn, all enemies become 1 weakened. Interesting. Could be good. I'm going to not do that right now, though. And instead, none of these are particularly useful. I will take Faithful Whispers, regardless, because we will have free cities soon, after we have liberated the ones here. So, moving our troops into the positions they need to be in. All of the ones here are ready to go. All that remains is removing these enemy forces. What is this? Marauders. That is a problem. We need more troops. Recruit some wild witches and war shamans down here. And we need to deal with these enemy forces. Attack trespassers. You are about to attack an army belonging to Hirconix the Binder, who is trespassing in your domain. You are not currently at war with Hirconix the Binder, and they will gain 16 threat if you attack them. You sure you want to attack this army? No. Wait. believe it will be close to a formal declaration of war, but we're not going to do that just yet. We stand poised to engage them, but unfortunately, I think we're going to have to leave that for the next episode. So that is going to make for an interesting little introduction to the next episode, is the actual declaration of war, where we're going to send emissaries to, what is their city? Pendant. And expose Hirconix for the deceiver that he is, while our forces move to take his territories. That will be what happens in the subsequent episode, so stay tuned for that. Also, I should note, I'm going to be recording that episode immediately thereafter, so if you write up lore pieces with the hope that I will include those in the next episode, I will unfortunately be unable to, because I'm going to be gone for a time from my computer. I will not be on vacation, it's just I will be basing myself out of elsewhere to house sit a house belonging to my family. So I will not have access to my PC. So I will not be able to do any further recordings. So that's why I'm doing 2 recordings now for this campaign during that time. So yeah, unfortunately I will not be able to include any lore or journal tidbits that any of you writers in the comments want to leave during this episode. However, if you still want to do so, just because you enjoy doing so, by all means, that's awesome. I will, of course, read them and, comment on them. I'll have a bit more time to do comments. So that'll be good, at the very least. So, yeah, by all means, leave your own little lore and suggestions and everything for what's going to happen. Just know that what's going to happen in this next episode is we are going to be declaring war against Hirconix and prosecuting the first war against Dragonkind, the first rebellion. We will be the first of the factions to go into open rebellion, and that's going to be pretty awesome. Of course, it should be the Prophet that leads the way. Such is only fair. Such is ordained, even, by the currents of causality, by Zas. Alright, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this. Drop this video a like if you have, and do check out my Galactic Civilizations playthrough, which should be out already, or the first episode should be out already, and I will catch you in the next one. Ash Erider out.